Thank you, Thomas, for the introduction. Let me know if I don't speak loud enough because I'm not going to use this mic. Okay, so this is a joint work with a bunch of people. So Melissa and Thomas Espito and Marco are also at the conference if you want to talk to us about the scheme. So let me first start by the motivation of Raccoon. Because the motivation of Raccoon is very different from the usual motivations of other signature schemes. So most signature schemes, they want to strike a balance between the size, the speed, the portability, and conservative assumptions. And so what I will say might be a bit of a blanket statement, but most of the time, side channel attacks and side channel resistance is an afterthought, which means that in effect, what's going to happen is that you end up with schemes that have that are fairly competitive for all criteria, but then side channel resistance suffers. And when you want to mask your schemes, for example, then it's not going to be efficient. On the other hand, the design of Raccoon is centered around resistance against side channel attacks. That means that being able to mask Raccoon efficiently is a very important criteria of Raccoon. And this is why we called our scheme Raccoon, is because the raccoons, they have this cute little mask around the eyes because our scheme is easy to mask. So first let me introduce you quickly to side channel attacks. So, when you execute your scheme, it's not going to run on a piece of paper, it's going to run on a device, and the device is going to interact with the environment in a myriad ways. And these ways are as many avenues for a motivated attacker to learn information about how the device is running the algorithm, and to learn information about private data manipulated by the algorithm. So for example, you have power consumption attacks, electromagnetic attacks. Timing attacks are particularly devastating because you don't even need a physical access to the algorithm. You just need to, the device can execute some code remotely, and as long as you can measure the running time, it can leak the key. You also have some really nice attacks based on acoustic emissions. And there was also a funny attack recently, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, where they put there was a smart card reader at the end of the room, and they had a high resolution camera filming the LED of the device, and you could see the LED flickering when the device was doing the computation, and they could extract a SYK, a private key. So SYK at the time was, I think it was already broken, but they can break it even more. Okay, let me give an example with Falcon. So at the left of this picture, there's a representation of the algorithmic diagram of Falcon. And so there's a bunch of subroutines. So for example, FF sampling is going to directly manipulate the private key. So a motivated attacker can just observe the electromagnetic emission of Falcon when running this subroutine, and it can extract the key directly. There are other attacks that do something a bit different. Is they do mount a geometric attack, because at some point the Falcon algorithm is going to, the signing algorithm is going to flip a coin, and if the coin ends on a plus, then the final signature will be in the same direction as the private key, and if it's not, then it's going to be in the opposite direction. And basically, if you observe this coin flip, plus you get some signatures, then you can mount a simple statistical learning analysis attack and recover the private key. Okay, so now that we know what is the type of attack we want to protect against, I'm going to talk about how to model these attacks and how to protect against these attacks. So one quick question, who is familiar with masking in this room? Okay, so not many people. Don't worry, I'm going to do a quick explanation. So, okay, how do we model side channel attacks? So there exist a zillion ways to model side channel attacks, but I'm going to start with a model that is extremely simple. It's a bit unrealistic, but it's easy to work with because it's very binary. So it's the T-probing model. So it's illustrated on the right. So you consider that your algorithm is going to run on a circuit You model your algorithm as a circuit. It's not always realistic, but that's what we are going to do. And we suppose that the adversary can probe t-values of the circuit at runtime. And for each value that they probe, they can learn the value of the probe. And now for the countermeasure, so the most widespread and common and effective countermeasure against side channel attacks is masking. And masking, it looks a bit like, so it shares similarities with multi-party computation. And the idea of masking is that each sensitive value is going to be split in D shares. And the idea is that each of these shares individually should look uniform. And even if you probe D minus one of them, it should look uniform. But once you sum all of them, then you recover the private value. And in the t-probing model, ideally, it should leak zero information as long as the number of shares is strictly larger than the parameter t of the probing adversary. And in real life, it's a bit more complicated, but we still observe experimentally that the number of traces required to mount an attack is exponential in the number of shares. In other words, masking, it's not a silver bullet, it's a trade-off between security and efficiency, because security is going to increase in the number of shares, but the efficiency is going to decrease in the number of shares. And I'm going to explain that in the next slide, because the next slide will be about computation. How do we do computation once we have this nice sharing? So I'm going to introduce a parallel with river crossing puzzles. So who is familiar with river crossing puzzles? Okay, so a bit more people. And you know, in river crossing puzzles, basically you have a bunch of people who want to cross a river. They have a boat. So that would be a simple problem to solve because you have a boat and you can just put people across the river. But the issue is that you also have some constraints on the people that, for example, you cannot put the goat and the wolf together, otherwise the wolf is going to eat the goat. So, you know, it's a problem that it's easy to state, but when you want to solve it and you increase the number of parameters, it quickly becomes something complicated to solve. But the main takeaway I want to do is that this is a problem that if you don't have the constraints, it's straightforward to solve. And if as soon as you add the security constraints, it becomes complicated to solve efficiently. Okay, so now from river crossing to masking. So now if you replace the set of people who want to cross the river by the shares, and you replace the operation everyone cross the river by an arbitrary function, and you replace the constraints by some more complicated constraint, but that is still that we can formally define that an adversary that probe t-values shall not learn anything, then you obtain an inexhaustible source of headache for cryptographers. And I say that because it's going to be a problem that is going to be difficult to solve efficiently. So how difficult is it? So for operations that are linear, such as addition, is going to be very efficient. You can just add each share independently. It's going to cost a big O of D operations. For multiplication, it's a bit more complex and it's going to be a bit slower. It's going to be big O of D square. And for more complex operations, we will need to use so-called mask conversions that are going to be very slow and is going to be more than big O of D square operations. So now I'm going to describe dilithium and to describe Raccoon as well. So in dilithium, when you look at the key generation, most of the operations are going to be easy to mask. So either they're easy to mask or they don't even require to be masked, except for one operation where you generate a short secret S in an interval. And this, it's very easy to do in unmasked form, but when you want to do it in masked form and to be formally secure in the t-probing model, is going to be difficult. And the only way that we know to do that is very generic, a bit inelegant, and basically the idea is to start with Boolean masking, generate a short secret S using Boolean masking, and then we convert this Boolean masking to arithmetic masking, but this conversion is going to be costly, and in our case it's going to be big O of D square log Q. So the idea of Raccoon in this case is to replace this operation by a different operation. So we replace this subroutine by a subroutine that we call addrep noise that is highlighted in green on the screen. And so what it's going to do is you start by a all zero vector, and then for a few number of rounds, for T rounds, you're going to sample short random shares in parallel. You add them to your encoding of S, and then you refresh S. So refresh is an operation that allows you to re-randomize your share. So it's still going to be a share of the exact same value, but this re-randomization is going to be very useful for to formally argue that you can separate your algorithm between what was done before the refresh and after the refresh. So it's very useful for composition. Now in terms, okay, so we can see that this operation is fast. It's not clear that it's secure, but what we show in our papers is that S remain a large amount of randomness even in the presence of a probing adversary. And this is nice because T, the public key T is going to be it's going to be A times S, and basically it's going to be an LWE sample. So as long as S is large enough, has enough randomness and so on, then LWE is still going to be difficult. So basically, even if an adversary probes the key generation algorithm, the private key remains difficult to find. Now for the signing procedure, it's a bit more complicated because now we have not one but two steps that are difficult to perform efficiently in masked form. So the first step is still generating a short ephemeral secret R, and we are going to use the same solution as for the key generation. We use addrep noise. And the second step is rejection sampling. And for rejection sampling, what we decided to do is to simply remove rejection sampling. And of course, this is going to be much simpler if we just remove rejection sampling, but is it going to be secure? So let us discuss why rejection sampling was useful. So in dilithium and similarly in similar schemes, rejection sampling is not useful for correctness. It's only useful for the security, for honest verifier zero knowledge. And you need to budget some size in the modulus Q to account for rejection sampling. I think this size in Hete is square root of n, and in dilithium is big O of n. And so in Raccoon, what we did is replace rejection sampling by, so we changed the analysis. Instead of having an analysis based on rejection sampling, we have an analysis based on Renyi divergence, which is a purely statistical analysis. And this analysis requires us to increase Q from big O of dimension of the secret to big O of the size of the challenge times square root of the number of queries. So we'll need to increase a bit the modulus. And then a side effect of that is that if we increase the modulus, then for SIS and LWE, they become easier. So you need to again increase S and Q divided by R in order for key recovery and forgery to remain secure. So this is why in Raccoon, I think the modulus is like twice larger than in dilithium, and the dimensions are also a bit larger because you can also play on the dimensions. So now for the performance, we can see that so these numbers are from the specification of Raccoon for the numbers of Raccoon in red, and dilithium is in blue, and it's from a paper at CHES 2023, which, as far as I can tell, is the state of the art. So you can see that the running time of masked dilithium is quickly going to become eye-watering, and for 16 shares, it's even going to be slower than Squeezine. So we can see that, on the other hand, for Raccoon, the complexity is going to be quasi-linear in the number of shares. So we can even mask Raccoon at order 32 on a microcontroller with no issue at all in terms of latency, in terms of memory, It's completely fine. So yeah, in conclusion, so Raccoon is a specific purpose signature scheme. It's more or less the same assumptions and metrics as Dilithium, except that the signature is 4 times larger. But on the other hand, the performance when it's masked, it's going to be orders of magnitude than for other schemes I am aware of. That concludes my talk, and thank you for your attention.